Yet another win for marriage equality today after New Jersey became the 14th state to legalize same-sex marriage. Just hours after the first gay and lesbian couples exchanged their wedding vows, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie dropped an appeal against a Superior Court decision from last month requiring the state to recognize same-sex marriages. On Friday, the state Supreme Court ruled it would not grant a stay on gay marriages during the appeals process, and it hinted that it would probably rule against the Christie administration, writing, "The state has advanced a number of arguments, but none of them overcome this reality. Same-sex couples who cannot marry are not treated equally under the law today." This morning, Chris Christie's office released this statement. Although the governor strongly disagrees with the court substituting its judgment for the constitutional process of the elected branches or a vote of the people, the court has now spoken clearly as to their view of the New Jersey Constitution, and therefore same-sex marriage is the law. The governor will do his constitutional duty and ensure his administration enforces the law as dictated by the New Jersey Supreme Court. While the majority of Americans support marriage equality, today's decision might hurt the possible 2016 presidential contenders standing with the Republican base. Only 27% of Republicans support same-sex marriage. 66% oppose it. Joining me now, Washington Post columnist and political analyst Eugene Robinson, and back with us again, Robert Costa of the National Review. Robert, how does Chris Christie's choice play within Republican politics these days?
I think Chris Christie's main argument on social issues, if he goes into Iowa or New Hampshire, is that he actually is a pro-life, pro-traditional marriage candidate who ran and won in a blue state. And so today he's going to be able to, I think, argue on a legal basis. Perhaps it can be cast as a surrender. But when it comes to his positions, I don't see much changing.
But Eugene, he dropped the state's appeal. Yeah. The state had a case, and they could have fought it all the way to the Supreme Court, just like the Republicans fought the Affordable Care Act all the way to the Supreme Court. This guy surrendered like he probably would have surrendered on the Affordable Care Act being appealed to the Supreme Court.
And he hugged Obama.
Right, and he also did that, yes.
Right, he did that too. You know, look.
There, I believe we've completed all the Republican attack ads on Chris Christie.
Exactly.
Right there.
But look, Christie kind of has to portray himself, I think, as the moderate, without saying the word, but the moderate alternative to the far right in the party, the guy who can win. And the guy who can win cannot be all that far to the right on gay marriage. I think can't take the traditional Republican never over my dead body position. Now, how is this going to go over in the Iowa caucuses, right? I mean, in the Iowa Republican Party.
He'll be the guy who doesn't run. There's always one guy who doesn't want to run.
Oh, I think he's going to run.
You know, but you know how McCain sat out Iowa one time?
Right. I think Christie easily could sit out Iowa, go to New Hampshire, go to Florida.
Right.
But Robert, what about how is it going to play in New Jersey? Because he does this at a time when a poll comes out in New Jersey showing tremendous support in New Jersey for same-sex marriage. Is this about Christie wanting to run up his number in New Jersey as much as he can so he can present that number to national Republicans and go, hey, look, I got X% of the vote?
My reporting doesn't back up that explanation, but I think Christie is trying to run up his number in New Jersey. He's been running a tough, really hasn't been sitting back against Ms. Buono. And so we see him really now with Cuccinelli falling in the polls in Virginia and with the shutdown happening in Washington. Christie's trying to poise himself to be that success story in 2013, but one of the lone success stories for Republicans if he wins next month.
Eugene, I guess he always has the activist judges to blame.
Well, he could blame activist judges. He didn't actually blame them, really, but he does have a point if you read what the High Court said. The New Jersey Supreme Court basically said, don't be bringing that weak stuff to us, right? His rationale was that they pretty much indicated they were going to rule against him. And, you know, that sounds a little iffy, but if you read what they actually said, it looks like that's the way the wind was blowing.
Plus, he's a former U.S. attorney, so if anyone can make the legal case about what happened, it's Chris Christie.
And so his position gets to hold. He gets to say, I'm personally against it.
Exactly. I'm personally against it. This is the way the courts have ruled. Let's move on.
And right now, Robert, let's ignore Iowa for a moment, because we know that's the place that rewards the Michelle Bachmans and those people. Moving into New Hampshire and the calendar after that, who does that look good for if you were to just look at the position of possible Republican candidates?
I think if you look at New Hampshire, it looks good for Senator Paul and for Governor Christie. I mean, they're trying to move the party in terms of temperament towards the center, even if the policies remain relatively the same.
And Eugene, isn't it kind of astonishing that Rand Paul, now that there's a Ted Cruz, can actually seem like kind of a reasonable guy by comparison?
Can we say mainstream? I mean, he's edging that way, but he's edging that way compared to Ted Cruz. It's really quite remarkable. You know, right after New Hampshire, though, comes that speed bump of South Carolina, my home state, and so there, you know, social issues can play. It's big on defense state. I don't know how Rand Paul is going to play there with his.
But Christie, when being able to win in the suburbs, if he wins in New Jersey, I think a lot of the candidates expect this to be a very wide field in 2016. So it's going to be a long primary. So someone may win Iowa, but you got to survive.
Yeah, you got to last a long time.
Have to last,
longer than usual.
Raise that money.
Robert Costa and Eugene Robinson, thank you both very much for joining me tonight.